Okay, some massive news just hit the AI infrastructure world. Modular, the company behind the super-fast Mojo language, has just acquired BentoML, one of the go-to platforms for AI deployment. So what on earth does this mean for the future of AI development? Well, we're going to break it all down for you using insights straight from the official Ask Me Anything session with the leaders of both companies.
All right, here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll quickly get to know the two companies joining forces. Then, we'll dive into the big picture synergy, like why this deal even makes sense. After that, we'll cover the super important commitments they've made to all of us in the community. And then, we'll look at the exciting integrated future this whole thing unlocks. And finally, we'll wrap up with their grand vision for a unified stack. Let's get right into it.
Okay, so let's set the stage. Who are the two key players here? Well, on one side, you've got Modular. Think of them as the engine builders. They created Mojo, a programming language designed from the ground up for AI speed, and Max, their engine that makes AI models just scream on pretty much any hardware. And on the other side, that's BentoML. They are the deployment specialists. They have the platform that takes those high-performance models and actually gets them out into the real world, serving millions of users reliably.
And when I say reliably, I'm not kidding. BentoML is not some small-time project. This thing is seriously battle-tested. It's an open-source platform that's trusted by over 10,000 organizations. And get this, that number includes more than 50 Fortune 500 companies. This is the kind of tech the production AI teams count on, day in and day out, to keep the lights on.
So that brings us to the million-dollar question, right? Why this merger? What's the strategic play here? Let's stop guessing and get right to the answers from the leaders themselves. This was, not surprisingly, one of the very first questions in the AMA, and it's probably the most important one. What's the common ground between a company that optimizes code and a company that deploys it?
So Chris Lattner from Modular broke it down into two key things. First, the technology is just a perfect hand-in-glove fit. If Modular's Mojo and MAX are the high-performance engine, then BentoML is the vehicle that actually gets that power to the road, to its final destination in production. Together, they make the whole journey possible. And second, and this is just as important, is their shared belief in open source. Both of these companies were built on community-driven development, and that's really the foundation of this whole partnership.
Of course, anytime a big acquisition like this happens, the community immediately starts asking questions. What's going to happen to my favorite open source project? What about the cloud service I'm paying for? The AMA went right at these questions, so let's look at the promises they made.
And this was question number one for so many developers out there. BentoML has a huge, passionate community. What does this acquisition mean for them?
BentoML's founder, Chaoyu Yang, tackled this one directly. He said, BentoML will remain Apache 2.0, will continue to ship new features at the same pace, if not faster. I mean, for the thousands of developers who depend on this project, hearing that commitment to continuity and maybe even hitting the accelerator, that is a massive sigh of relief.
Okay, next big question, this one from the enterprise users. BentoCloud is the managed service that a lot of businesses rely on to run their AI. So what's its fate?
And again, the answer was crystal clear. Yes, BentoCloud is absolutely being supported. But it's actually more than that. It's set to become the foundation for a way bigger project, the new unified modular cloud. So they aren't just keeping it alive, they're about to pour some serious fuel on the fire. Now, let's flip over to a question from the modular side of the family. What's going to happen to Mammoth? That's Modular's own tool for really large-scale distributed inference.
And you gotta love this answer from Chris Lattner. He just comes right out and says, Mammoth won't go extinct. It's still a really important part of their tech stack, and the whole plan is to integrate it even tighter with BentoML. That's how they're gonna build out that unified cloud product.
So, now that we know the community's current tools are safe, let's shift gears and start looking forward. What does this integration actually unlock for us as developers? What cool new stuff can we do? And of course, the very next question on everyone's mind is, when? When can we get our hands on these new integrated tools? What's the timeline looking like? The answer here was a little more cautious, which makes sense. Chris Lattner basically said they have huge plans, but doing this right is going to take some time. The first real integrations are slated for later this year, so we'll have to keep an eye out. All right, and now we get to it. This is the big one, the key technical question of the whole AMA. Will the BentoML deployment platform get native direct support from Modular's high-performance Mojo language and its MX engine?
Yes. A simple, powerful, one-word answer from Chaoyu Yang. That's it. That's the integration everyone was dreaming about. This right here is where things get really, really interesting.
So what does that yes actually mean for you when you're coding? Well, it unlocks 3 pretty game-changing benefits. First, better performance. We're talking speeds that can go head-to-head with super specialized tools like VLLM. Second, faster scaling. By creating containers that are up to 90% smaller, you can spin up and scale your apps way faster and way cheaper. And third, you get true portability. Just imagine having one unified stack that runs your code perfectly across NVIDIA, AMD, CPUs, you name it. That's the promise.
And all of this rolls up into one big, ambitious vision for a completely unified AI stack. The goal here is to finally move past the mess of different tools that developers have been cobbling together for years and create something that just works.
Chris Lattner had this fantastic quote that just nails the whole idea. He said, "The real win isn't just about connecting two products. It's about designing the optimization and the serving layers to work together from day one, instead of, as he put it, duct taping them together after the fact." I think every single developer who has ever fought with integration problems felt that one deep in their soul.
So to wrap it all up, the vision is this: a complete end-to-end stack. You've got Mojo and Max making your code fast. You've got BentoML making your deployment reliable and scalable. The end result? A single, simple workflow that takes you all the way from your laptop to global production, all of it built on a solid foundation of open source.
But, the story isn't quite over yet. While the AMA answered a ton of big questions, it also left us with some new ones. We're all waiting to see the nitty-gritty technical details. How will BentoML and Mammoth actually scale together? Are we going to get a proper BentoML SDK for Mojo? And what about licensing down the road? These are the next chapters we're all going to be watching very closely. This acquisition is a huge move towards a simpler AI stack, but now the really hard work is just getting started. Thanks for tuning in.